Hi, I'm Michael Bartlett, and I've been running for about 5 years now, and I'm training for a goal of a 135 half marathon in Myrtle Beach on October 17th.
Hey, my name is Jack Stevenson. I've been running for on and off about 20 years, but more seriously here in the last 4 to 5 years, and everything he just said, 135 Myrtle Beach in October. Looking forward to it.
Hi there, my name is Joel. I'm running the Georgina Marathon on October 17th with a goal of qualifying for Boston with a time of 3 hours, 20 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Hey everyone, welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul. I'm a certified running coach, and this is episode 14 of Chasing PRs. This series follows the runners who are sharing the screen with me as they have been executing a training plan, each of them designed by me to help them reach their racing goals on October 17th, 2021, which is just coming up in another week by the time everybody sees this. I'll be sharing running tips and advice, especially today, all about racing strategy, racing tactics to help you become a faster, stronger, and healthier runner, as well as these guys. So please like, comment, subscribe, and ding that bell as always to get notifications from me whenever I post a new video. You can follow everyone here on screen with me on Strava. The links are all below. Now, before we get into it, there's a lot going on here, folks. By the time you are watching this, we are a mere week away from race day for all three of these guys. They have worked like I haven't seen three runners work in a long time to be ready for their October 17th race day. And what I want to do today is kind of, before I let them all speak about how their last speed week of training went and how they are enjoying their taper so far, I want to give a little bit of a talk regarding pre-race strategy and pre-race tactics, because I know these guys need this information right now, and I know there are a lot of people watching who are preparing for their races. So I thought, what better time than to try to get all this in right now. I've just got bullet notes here, so everybody bear with me. I'm just going to try to get this out in some form of coherent message. But just to get started, I want you guys all to think about the fact that a race of any length is really, if you're well prepared, which all three of you are immensely well prepared. I want you to know that. I truly believe that all of you guys are capable, after a little bit more rest, of crushing your goals. With that said, a race, in my mind, is about 75% mental if you've done adequate physical training. And as I said, you guys are all physically ready to do what you need to do. The reason I think it's 75% mental is because it allows you to have a much calmer mental state. It allows you to focus just on the things you need to do in race, instead of having any kind of self-doubt and having an uphill battle with your mind while you're racing. You don't want that. Luckily, I don't think any of you guys are in that position. As far as tactics that you can use over the next week and a half, as you're going through your taper and as you start to maybe doubt your physical capabilities because it's been so long since you've been pushing yourselves, one of the main things that you can do to improve your racing, and it's scientifically proven that this helps, so I really encourage you guys to really heed my words here and give this a shot over several nights over the next couple of weeks as you prepare for race day. And the main thing is visualization. I want you, number one, to know your course that you're running as well as you possibly can. And the best ways to do that, if you haven't run the course before, if you haven't raced this particular race, which I don't think, with the exception of Michael, Jack,
it's changed since I've ran it.
Okay, so there you go. It's a perfect segue here then. The best thing you can do to know that course is obviously study the maps, know the elevation changes if there are any major hills or anything like that. Also, I encourage you, more now than in the last week of your taper, sort of get on YouTube as much as you can. Watch every video there is of anybody who's run this course and pull every trick and every little bit of information you can out of those videos. And the last thing is part of visualization is I want you guys to internalize your final finishing time, what you've been training for all along. I want you to have a physical image when you close your eyes of that exact time flashing on the finish line clock as you go through, because that will get embedded in your mind. That will get into your bloodstream, and it will help you to try to achieve that throughout the race with your pacing. When you cross that finish or that start line, you'll go out with a very, very deep-seated desire and a very clear picture in your mind of what it is you're trying to achieve. Because when you get there, when you're in the corral, when you're all nervous and you're pacing around and you're wondering if you've got everything that you need to get through, it's very, very easy to forget what you're there for. So all of that helps. Visualization, try to do it, if you can do it once a day, just take 10 minutes out and picture yourself at every stage of that race. Picture the first 3 miles when you're feeling great and how much you're going to have to hold back, not to just sprint out of the gate. Picture yourself when you're halfway through and it's just starting to become a grind, when you're actually starting to just have to work. And picture what's going to be around you, what it's going to be like to have all the other runners around you kind of crowding you and kind of jostling you out of the way, and what it's going to take to get through them. Think about those last 3 miles when all you really want to do is just go grab a beer and say, forget this, and what it's going to take to grind through. We're going to get more into specific in-race tactics later. That's as deep as I really want to go. But visualization is really important. If you've already lived that race in your mind several times, you're not going to get surprised by some small contingency or something. There will be less to surprise you when you're out there to dissuade you from your goal. So with that said, as far as more pre-race stuff, guys, in your first week of taper, which you are all, as we tape this, you're about halfway through your first week of taper. I just want to kind of get you guys thinking about your nutrition. I want you to go protein heavy this week, because your muscles that you've beaten down for the last 14 weeks are all in need of extra protein to get that healing kind of moving along at a faster clip. Next week, when you're about 4 days out from race day, that's when you're going to start carb loading, the old saying. You don't want to just grab a mountain of pasta the night before. That crap doesn't work. All that does is bloat you up and make you feel bad on the start line. So starting like next Tuesday, I want you to just kind of shift the balance of your meals so that like 70% of each meal is carb. And you want simple carbs. The days of eating healthy, complex carbohydrates that break down slowly and kind of help you digest or help you to move things through your system and keep you healthy. Starting 4 days out, that's out the window. That doesn't matter. What you want is simple carbohydrates. You want to be drinking your Gatorades. You want white rice. You want bagels. You want white potatoes. Avoid greasy stuff. That's going to just kind of, move things through you in an unpredictable way. But simple carbs, guys, simple carbs, and just keep loading throughout the day. Of course, stay hydrated. And one of the big ones that a lot of people forget, and you don't hear it from enough coaches, is, and this is really hard, especially for coffee addicts like me. When you start doing the heavy carb stuff 4 days out from the race, either tail off the caffeine or drop it completely. And the reason for that, there's two really strong good reasons for that, guys. Number one, caffeine is a major diuretic. So if you're trying to hydrate, if you're trying to get your body all your muscles all plumped up with liquid so that you feel freaking awesome on race morning. Caffeine may make you feel awake for the first couple hours of the day, but if you can possibly force your way through and just kind of deal with it until your body just naturally wakes up, do it, because that caffeine is not helping you. It's making you pee out all that hydration that should be staying in your body. And the second reason why you want to avoid caffeine for those 4 days leading up is because when your body starts to adjust to not having it, and then you mainline it on race morning, you're going to feel like you have rocket fuel in you, and you're going to feel like nothing in the world could possibly stop you. You're going to be busting at the seams with energy. So if you can put up with it starting next Tuesday, just lay off. And yeah, what else do I want to talk about pre-race wise here, guys, without getting too long-winded? I guess I want to mention the fact that willpower and motivation are, in my opinion, overvalued. They're both good for short term to get you through something that's going to take you a little while to get done. But it wasn't, just think of it this way, it wasn't willpower and motivation that got you through the last 14 weeks of heavy training. It was the fact that you were willing to get out there, you were willing to grind and get out there and train when you didn't want to, on the days that just kind of sucked. So I want you to kind of take that same attitude to race day with you, especially in those final miles. Willpower and motivation are not going to equal the pain that you're feeling. So think in terms of there is no hack. You earned this. It's not going to feel good out there for top performance. Achieving top performance at any level is always uncomfortable, guys. And it never changes. The faster you get, the harder you push. It's all about the grind. It's just a matter of thinking in terms of, in the case of Michael and Jack, an hour and 35 minutes, it's going to hurt. But then for the rest of your lives, you get to carry around that PR. So, we'll talk about in-race tactics after we review your guys' past week or week and a half, because I want to know how you all are feeling. Jack, let's start with you. How was your last speed week, and how is the taper treating you so far?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Well, last week, pretty good week. I came in on Tuesday. We kind of switched from the 5K time trial the weekend before. We scrubbed the track workout and just did some strides and glides that Tuesday morning. So about 6 miles. Ran that, felt pretty good. Felt that I really felt the pace, last kind of opportunity to really turn those legs up, before we started hitting into this week. So I tried to make the most of it, and was pacing about 7 minutes, 6 seconds per mile, and gradually kind of increased that as we got towards the end. So I was happy with that. And then Thursday, I had to switch up a little bit last week because I remember I was out of town. So I did my long run, the 10 miler on Thursday morning. Seeing here, I have a start time of 4:40 a.m.
Nice.
So it was a 10 mile just roll down. Felt really well. It's amazing what can be done before the sun comes up like that. It was good. The weather was still had that damp kind of cool morning, so breathing went well. Once I started picking up the last 3 miles at race pace, it was a smooth I felt for the first time in these roll downs, I felt a really nice smooth transition into that, and much better, in my opinion, much better performance than the 15 miler that we attempted a couple of weeks ago. So very happy with the way that one went. And then traveled, was out on Friday, and then came back on Saturday and did another 6 miles with 10 strides. It was hot down in Florida, so I did that on the treadmill in the up there at the apartment gym.
Oh, okay. So, I was wondering about that when
it was gosh, it was by the time we got up and everything, it was creeping up to about 85, going to be about 90 degrees by run time. So I was like, yeah, let's just this late the game, let's just hit the treadmill. And that went well. So now in the tapering, yeah, good as I guess it can be. I think, like you said, you kind of get that feeling of I'm not, mentally, it's more of a mental challenge. Like I'm not doing enough, or I mean, where is it going? Why does this feel blah? So, so really nothing to report on the day and a half or so. I did make it out to the track yesterday, or the park yesterday, for some outdoor for the the interval work. Really that true last chance to pretty much turn the legs. It was 2 400s. It was a 2 400s and 2 800s in between. So went well. Just some times.
I saw your times. It looked good.
Yeah, times on that was first 400 was a 125. The first 800 interval 2 800, 2 minutes 53 seconds. The interval 3 800, 2 minutes 41 seconds. Nice. And then the last one 400 was a minute 19 seconds. And then a quick cool down the end of the day, and took the day off. And we'll go out and do a little small tempo run tomorrow and really start winding down.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. And that's the thing. At this point, all the speed work that you guys have left, in the remainder here of your first taper week, and even I think like the one minor speed workout that you have in your final taper week are really just there to make sure that your muscles and your mind continue to work together and they know how to turn over fast, because it's not about, you're not going to gain any fitness anymore. This is all just about hanging on to what you got so that race day treats you the way you want it to. So, Jack, I just want to say, because we're not going to really talk again until after you guys have finished the race, and we'll bring everybody up to speed then. But, this is true of all you guys, but Jack, dude, you've been solid. You've been an incredible athlete through this entire training block. You're just nailing everything. And you've learned so much. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow into a distance guy who started out, because as we've said several times throughout this series, you started out as kind of like a mid-distance guy, and you've learned all the big lessons of what it takes to become a distance guy, and you're gonna kill it, dude. I mean, we have no control over the weather and all the external stuff, but you have all the tools you need to be successful.
Well, thank you, Paul, and thank you so much for the guidance. I mean, I've definitely learned a lot by watching you and talking with Michael, particularly, doing these runs, training together has been a big help. I've learned so much from him, as well as you, just kind of watching, seeing how you guys do things, and how you approach, particularly these long runs. It's been definitely a big positive lesson for me, and I appreciate all the support, Michael, from lending me gels and liquid vest and everything that I'm like, well, I've never even thought would be possible, but once I started partaking, I'm like, okay, I see the magic now. So
it's a whole different universe once you become a distance guy. But
and then Joel, just seeing what you're doing out there, man, it's just been a big inspiration, and I wish you the very best of luck. I know you're going to do great, and to be able to bounce back from the recent adversity. I mean, you're just going to knock it dead, and just appreciate all the support and camaraderie here, and let's go get it.
Awesome. Love hearing that, dude. Man, I'm just looking forward to probably around 11 a.m. on October 17th, when you guys have all crossed the finish line, and we'll have a little bit of a celebration and catch up after the fact. But Michael, let's hear how the last speed week and the beginning of your taper have treated you so far.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah. So like Jack said, we sort of scrapped the speed after the 5K time trial and did some strides, and they went well. Sort of laid low last week until that 10 miler was sort of the last push, I guess you would say, harder effort pre-race, I guess. And it went well. I think I went out a little bit too fast with the conditions. It was probably about 65 degrees, really humid, a lot of fog. But I powered through. I did the last three. It was definitely difficult. And my heart rate definitely got really high up there towards the end with the conditions. But it was a good workout, and I felt good afterwards. I think the last, I was right on target there at race pace, so I didn't have to push it back really for any heat or whatnot, heat adjusted. So it went well. Definitely feeling a little bit fatigued coming into this week because I did push the run till Sunday. So I had, 3 days back to back, and then that third day, which was yesterday, ended up being the last track interval workout. So I was definitely feeling that. So I don't really know if you could say that I'm feeling less fatigue with the taper or not, since the way I sort of pushed it out. But anyways, weather was bad yesterday. Unfortunately, I had to do it on the treadmill.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you keep your joints happy. The less impact, the better for the next 10 days for you guys. So
yeah, so it was like Jack said, a little bit of shortened interval workout with the 2 400s, the 2 800s. I did them right on pace, the 6-minute flat pace for the 400s, and then 6:15 pace for the 800s. I didn't really push it beyond just to get that turnover going.
Yep, that's all it's about. Just keeping your brain and your legs working together to just turn over fast, because fast leg turnover does not. It's something that the body forgets really quick, because it's just one of those short-term memory things. If you don't practice it all the time, it goes quick. So, that's the whole reason you guys are doing any kind of speed workouts anymore, is just to keep that fresh in your mind. But Michael, what I want to tell you is very similar to everything I said to Jack. We've been through more training cycles together than this is Jack's second training cycle with me, and Michael, this is your third, maybe fourth. And so you kind of know what it's all about, and what my perspective is on training. And dude, this was the toughest one I've seen you go through, and you just handled it like an absolute pro. I mean, you just kept coming back. You just kept. The big takeaway in my mind, that I'll always remember about you through this whole training cycle, is kind of getting back from my long runs on Sundays, checking Strava to see how your long run went, and always seeing these picture perfect progression runs that were just like textbook. And it's amazing, because I pushed you hard, I pushed Jack hard, and it's just. You just kept coming back, and you made it look, I wouldn't say easy, because, you guys did have to work for what you've earned to this point, but you always rose to the occasion, and you should be very proud of yourself. You should be going into this race with just a ton of confidence, because like I said, you can't control the weather, but you have the goods, dude. You're ready. You're ready as anybody who's ever set out to run a 1:35 on a half marathon course. So approach that start line knowing you got what it takes. And with that, sir, I want to move on and speak with Joel, because he's not really in a classical taper right now, but we left off last week with a bit of a cliffhanger. We didn't know if Joel was going to be able to push through and continue his training and proceed towards his marathon BQ attempt. And things are very much still in question. but we've got some strong indications that Joel is looking really strong. And so far, we are proceeding with ramping him towards the starting line. Things are looking really good. Joel, I'm going to leave the details to you. Let's talk about how the last 7 to 10 days have been for you.
Sure. So I've been alternating on my bike, basically a trainer, a smart trainer, and then and I can push pretty hard on that, and then which I've really, thank God I have that thing, because it lets me work out and just, you know, burn some calories and it just make, you know, I'm just happy to have that outlet while I've been sort of waiting for this to correct. And like I said last time, it doesn't seem to aggravate the issue, which is strange. Like because the biking is more hamstring. Like in some ways, there's a lot of
yeah, it's a different motion though. You know,
it's a different motion, and it just doesn't aggravate whatever I've done. You know. So anyway, so for last week, I took some rest Monday. I was on the trainer Tuesday. We did a 3-mile test. I think it was 3 miles. 3-mile test on Wednesday, and everything was fine. Did the trainer on Thursday. On Friday, we did a 5-mile test. Everything was fine. Trainer on Saturday, and then Sunday, 10-mile progression.
Which
up
is
to
the biggest
marathon.
run you've had since your half marathon time trial, correct?
Yeah. So that was 3 weeks ago. So, and that thing was, it went perfect. There was no,
awesome.
Yeah, there was, so I've had, at that point I'd had 2 like 45-minute, one, I think one might've been even an hour massage on one leg.
Yeah.
So, which is very strange. So,
but apparently very effective.
it is effective. Like there's no doubt. But when the irony is when I was on the treadmill doing the 10-miler, all I could feel was discomfort on my right side. So the left side where I had the injury, no problem. The right side, you know, was sore as
Yeah,
hell.
well, I don't want to get any
like, really?
over here.
Yeah. But that's fine. I'll take it.
Yep.
So I took some rest Monday this week. I did another run yesterday, 6 miles easy. It was fine. Was on the bike today. I went for another massage today. I had both legs done because I'm like, okay, we got to take care of the right side now.
Yep.
I was on the bike today, and I'm feeling pretty optimistic. Like I think it might have been last week, Paul, we were talking, and I'm like,
yeah,
I just mentally, I did not believe that I could cover the distance, right? The marathon distance. So I'm like,
I know
you know what?
Very
maybe
dejected at the time.
Yeah, maybe I'll switch to the half. But even then, like, you know, I just didn't believe that would be possible. But based on the last few days, like, there's no, I'm 100% going to show up and, you know, do my best.
That makes me just so happy.
Yeah,
I know
I'm
you're
really
gonna get
happy.
there.
Yeah, that 10-miler, that was one of the happiest. Like I was really happy. And you kind of called it. You said like, oh, you know, one day it'll just work.
Yeah.
And it did, you know, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, no, it's always like that. There's always like this, like I said, probably 2-3 weeks ago in one of the episodes, healing kind of goes like that, and then exponential, boom, and suddenly you're just like, I can do it again.
Yeah, like to the point yesterday, I was on the treadmill and it was just like a 6-mile easy, and I'm like, I can't run this slow. Like I'm going crazy here, and you know, so I ramped up the speed a little, like just slowly, carefully.
Yeah.
You know, I've been watching Rocky movies, so I'm like, Yeah. So today I'm the trainer, a little longer. So I'm really excited.
Now tell everybody what you got coming up run-wise tomorrow.
Yeah. So tomorrow, remind me, I think
you're going 8 miles with strides.
Strides. Yeah.
So this will be your first kind of speed. Well, not your first, because like you just said, you kind of ramped up on the treadmill last week, but yeah, this will be kind of like a little bit sharper speed. And if you make it through that, then on the weekend, you're going to be going 10 miles with probably 3 miles at marathon pace. Yeah. And, after that, we're just going to be working on turnover just to get your leg turnover and still leave you with plenty of rest before race day. But this is all about building your confidence and reestablishing that mind-body connection so that you can go into race day knowing you're going to kill it. That's all we're up against now.
Yeah. I like, honestly, the way it feels now, I think we're going to get to race day.
Yep.
But now, like, I've changed, like I'm still, it's amazing how everything's changing, right? Like,
yeah, very quickly.
A week ago, I'm like, I'm out. Maybe I'll be lucky to do the half. Now I'm like, okay, I'm doing the full, but I want to be, I'm like, my goals are like, okay, there's a few things I was thinking about. I'm like, okay, 1, I want to finish it.
Yep.
2, I want it to be under 4 hours. 3rd, I want it to be a PR.
Exactly.
4, I don't really believe yet, but we'll get there.
But the thing, when it's going to change? It's going to change after your weekend run. When you ramp up to speed and you don't feel any pain, your ever evolving, volatile, emotional and mental state is going to suddenly go straight up. And that's when you're going to start to believe that you can do this. And it's very, very close to race day, and we're cutting it tight, but I think that's what's going to change it for you. I think that's what's going to allow you to go into race day and toe that start line, knowing that you can do this, you can hit your BQ.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to running it, and we'll work on what I'm going to try to do. I'm still like, I'm a little nervous, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I want to do, guys, first of all, I want to review with Joel, just kind of like my impressions of him throughout this training cycle. Joel came into this with 10 years of running and marathoning experience. And it seems to have always been eluding him the ability to get to that BQ time. And, he found out that I was working on becoming a coach, and it seemed like a good idea for us to kind of activate our powers and work towards his goal together for both of our mutual benefit. And I have to say, Joel, that with the tools that I learned in becoming a coach, passing that along to all of you guys, and you especially, Joel, you took to it, you pushed hard, and I want you to remember that you spent the vast majority of the past 14 weeks feeling great and pushing hard and taking all the abuse that I was throwing at you guys to try to get you to where you wanted to be. We had a scary setback here in the last 3 weeks with your hamstring pull, but I assure you, that is the only thing in your way. As far as your fitness goes, you are BQ ready, sir. Just like, there's no hyperbole, as I've said in the past. You've proven it time after time. And now it's starting to look very much like we're going to be able to get you past that injury just in time for you to hit that start line. It's been a pleasure working with you. We've been friends for a long time, but to see you as an athlete who is gunning for something, who wants it so badly, and you put in all the work. So, just take that to heart, dude. You've got what it takes. It's natural to be nervous when you've got something kind of looming over you that could potentially get in the way, but you have to realize, be nervous over the things that you can control. You pushed, you've trained, you are fit, and you are ready. If the hamstring gets in the way, it gets in the way, but don't let that be the point of worry. Don't let that stop you from getting the rest you need and having the peace of mind that you need to go into this with full confidence. If something goes wrong, it's going to go wrong, and there's nothing any of us can do about it. But we've taken the smartest plan to rehab you. The rest of your body has the fitness. You're going to do this, and it's going to be sweet. When you report back to me that you did it, I'm going to be in tears just as much as you are. And it's going to be a hell of a celebration when we all get back on this screen and talk about it. And that's coming about 10 days from now. It's been a pleasure, dude. You know, we're all going to talk again, so this isn't a sign off. I'm not going to say goodbye to all three of you guys. But before we get out of here, we're going to kind of get down to business again, because I've got some important in-race strategies and tactics that I want to pass along to you guys, and I want you to review it as many times as you need to over the next 10 days, because this is the stuff that in the heat of battle, you have to be able to call on to get the job done, because it's going to get rough out there, but that's what it's all about. You guys have already proven you can deal with the rough and tough stuff over 14 weeks. So with that said, guys, I want you to go into this race day not just with one goal. You know, your PR goals, of course, that's going to be your A goal. You know, for Jack and for Michael, that's 135 or under. For Joel, that's a 320, which gives him a 5-minute buffer on BQ. That's not the only goal that you should go into this race day with, because if things beyond your control make that impossible, the day is not a loss. I want you to have a B goal, which is to do better in the run, to feel better than you ever have when you've raced before, because that gives you the tools for next time when you're gunning for an even more amazing time goal. If you know how to run comfortably and run smart, it's going to help you not just this time, but in all races going forward. So if you can run smart this time, that's a win. I want your C goal to be just to cross the finish line, because to start a journey, to start an odyssey, the likes of which you guys are going in for, whether it's a half marathon, which is still a massive distance, or a full marathon, which is just a mind-numbing number of miles to have to go all at once. That's an accomplishment you should be proud of. Just getting to that finish line, you know, that's a win. That's a good day. Think of the hundreds of people who are going to be at that start line with you who are not going to see that finish line. You've put in the work. Let's just finish it. You know what I mean? You've got the tools you need. So any one of those goals is a win for me and should be considered a win for all you guys. To get into the tactics, the things that you need to be thinking about when you're standing at that start line, the only things that you should be thinking about. Once you're at that start line, you got to do your best. You got to fight the emotion off. It's not going to help you on race day. You want to arrive at that start line like a machine. You want to arrive at that start line with focused attention. You want to be resolved that nothing's going to stop you. Anything that you have control over is not going to stop you. That voice in your head, that central governor that's telling you, oh, this is getting tough. This is getting painful. Maybe we should slow down. Maybe we should stop. Maybe we should go get a beer. You got to be able to shut that out. And that's only going to come from just focusing. You're the machine that is meant to go from start to finish and let nothing stop you. As far as pacing goes, guys, I want you to be very, very careful. Go out that first 3 miles. You're going to run 5 to 10 seconds slower than your intended race pace. Because A, that's going to prove to you that you've got control over this race. You can hold yourself back, even though you're going to have, trust me, 10 days from now, you're all going to be bursting with energy, and you're going to want to let it out the second that gun goes off and you're getting all those excited vibes from all the hundreds of people around you. But don't do it. You control the situation. Back off that pace by 5 to 10 seconds. Trust me, you'll get it back in spades later. When you get to those middle miles, from mile 4 on to like mile 10 for Jack and Michael, and Joel, for you, like mile 4 all the way through 20. This is when that machine-like attitude, that complete emotionless machine, has to cut in. At mile 4, you guys all have got to kick in. You've got to get on race pace, and you got to hold it. Let nothing stop you. That has to be the main thing. You look down at that watch as often as you have to, and you hold race pace, unless it's like just too hot to do it. And then that's not something, don't even worry about, oh my God, what's Paul going to say? What are the other guys going to say? What are all the people who are watching this whole series going to say when I report back that I couldn't hold race pace? If it's too damn hot, nobody's going to hold it against you. That's just the way it is. Sometimes you just get a bad break out there. But if you can do it as best to the best of your ability, if you have to back adjust because of heat and humidity, then you do it. We're all human. There's just like physiologically, there's nothing you can do if the cards like are stacked against you as far as environment goes. But once you find that comfortable pace, whatever the day allows you to do, hold it. That's your job. Just hold that pace through all those middle miles. Do not let it drift. And then when you get to the end, the tail end, that's when you're going to push as hard. You're going to use up every bit of juice you got. For Jack and Michael, miles 11 or 10 and 11 and 12, see if you can push it up a little bit. Ignore the pain, ignore the extreme discomfort, not the pain, because Joel, if there's real pain, if I mean, you'll know it. If anywhere along the way the injury shows itself again, it's not worth blowing things, because you will live to race another day. But barring that, if we're just talking about discomfort, guys, you just push through it and try to speed up. And then they're right there in the last mile, it's all bets are off, guys. Go nuts, sprint, do whatever, and use up every last little bit of energy you got. And you're tougher than the pain. You've already proven that for 14 freaking weeks under the worst of weather conditions, et cetera, et cetera. So you just got to go out there and you got to do it one more time. I want you guys to keep in mind that central governor, as I've said, it's going to kick in at about 40. When you've reached about 40% of your energy reserves, you're going to start getting that voice in the back of your head saying, guys, hey, back off, back off. There's no reason to push yourself this hard. Ignore that damn voice. It ain't worth a thing. It's just there to stop you. I want you to guys, in addition to your visualizations leading up to the race, there's another thing I want you guys to work on. I want you guys to go back. If you've got to watch all these videos again to remind you, I want you to go back and get a short list of 4 or 5 workouts during this entire 14-week span that were bloody tough, when you were huffing and puffing and all you wanted to do was stop. And I want you to make a list of that. And I want you to be able to recite it to yourself. Because when you get about halfway through the race, you're going to draw strength from that. You're going to say, no damn way I'm giving up now, because I did this and I did that and I did the other thing and I didn't stop then and I'm not going to stop now. Work on it beforehand, because when you're in the heat of battle, you're not going to remember those. You're just going to be gasping and you're going to feel kind of desperate. So work on that now. Get your short list that proves to you that you're worthy of finishing this off. Another good piece of advice, that you've heard it many times, but run the mile you're in. When you're in mile 4 and you're just trying to lock onto race pace, and you're thinking, but this feels so hard right now. Don't worry about how it's going to feel 9 miles down the road. Worry about right now. Just focus on right now. Get up to pace, hold it. Within a mile, it'll start to feel more comfortable. Trust me, it won't feel as bad as when you're first ramping up to that speed. This is a huge one, guys. There are several checklists that you can run through mentally as you're going through the race that will distract you from the pain and make it easier to run fast. The first one is your running form checklist. I want you to constantly remind yourself, get that head up, run tall, shoulders relaxed, swing those arms back, straight back and forth like pendulums. Get those hips forward, quick feet, fast turnover. Don't worry about those huge strides. Get the feet down as often as you can. Faster feet are more valuable than huge strides because that's going to keep your cadence up. And cadence is the trick to good form so that you don't hurt yourself when you're out there, especially when you're getting desperate to try to keep that pace in the later miles. I want you to check your pace at every single mile marker. Every time you see those mile markers, your first instinct should be look down at that watch. If you're moving too fast, slow down. If you're moving too slow, your job is to get back on pace. The last checklist that I want you to have at your disposal, guys, is make sure your fueling and hydrating does not slip. If you miss one drink or if you miss one gel by if you're supposed to take it every 4 miles and suddenly you realize, oh, I'm on mile 4.5, get it down, and don't choke them down all at once. Give yourself a quarter mile, a half mile to get the whole gel down. It's more important to maintain pace than it is to get that gel down all at once. Pace is everything. That's all racing is about, is just holding the pace. You're a machine and you got to get the job done. And that's the only way to get it done. Positive mantras. I want you guys to come up with some phrases, more homework. Some phrases that are important to you, that have meaning to you. If it's something that one of your children has said to you, that it carries a lot of emotional value. If it's something that you've read in a book, if it's something you've made up yourself, and it doesn't have to be a secret mantra. It's not like yoga or something where you got to keep it personal to yourself. My 2 favorites to this day are still I am strong. It's nice and simple. It's nice and positive. And it reminds me of everything that went into getting to that start line and why I want to reach that finish line. The other one for me is I don't stop. I'm a machine. You start me up, I ain't stop until I cross that finish line. Doesn't matter how much I hurt. I'll survive. Beyond mantras, guys. We already talked about reminding yourself, your short list, your cookie jar of all the hard work that you've done up to this point. Guys, remember that pain is temporary, pride is forever. Remember that you'll get to the finish line faster if you hold pace. The pain will stop sooner if you keep up your pace. When you get really desperate, pick a tree in the distance. Just keep going to that tree. When it gets tough, pick another runner. It's about 200-300 feet in front of you. Give yourself a mile or 2 to catch that person, but you're going to catch that person. Your mission is to catch that person. Forget about the finish line for now. Just go after that person. You're hunting them, go catch them. With that, guys, I mean, there's a lot of silly little things I can tell you, but those are the big ones. Those are the big ones that you can distract yourself with and make sure that you are getting the job done in the most efficient way possible. As far as my sign off goes, guys, I'm just going to do a little reading here. Ultimately, remember, guys, that the race owes you nothing. You don't deserve an easy run just because you've trained hard. It's up to you to push through and take the prize for yourself. But the good news is that you've done the work. You have, every single one of you has the skills and the ability to get this job done. Face the adversity one more time and bring back those PRs. We're going to talk again in about 10 days, guys, and it's going to be good news all around, I promise you. Thank you for joining me. I'm not going to say goodbye, as I said earlier, because we're going to get together one more time to pass the good news on to all the viewers. But guys, I just want to say to everybody watching, get healthy, stay strong, and keep pushing just like these guys. They're amazing. So are you. We're all going to get to where we want to be with this running thing. Have a good night. Bye-bye.